now. Okay, there's a hand up already. Let's go to Mahesh.
Hello.
Hello, my dear.
I have no idea what I'm going to talk
What are you
about.
not thinking today?
Yeah, I don't know. I just had the feeling last night that I should put my hand up, and I was thinking of lots of things. And yeah, I still have that feeling to put the hand up, but I don't. Um, yeah, I'm just kind of coming at it fresh. I have no idea
Okay, yeah.
what we'll talk about. So, hello.
Hello.
One thing that does come to my mind is that there's been a lot of like this past week. There's been nightmares most nights, and a lot of pains and aches, and a lot of sick stomach, and there's been a lot of that kind
Oh,
of thing. I've been trying to follow Guruji's kind of 30 days and 30
yes,
nights,
yes.
and yeah. So there, that's. But like there's so many good little pointers and practices that are helping me to uh, find kind of ease and peace with all of that.
Hmm.
Like even in one of the nightmares, I was saying, "This is a dream. This is just a dream," and with the physical stuff to just kind of okay, this is how life is expressing in this moment. There doesn't have to be a story of an I or me who's suffering it. And
Yeah.
all of those things just seem to come in really handy, really
Yeah.
helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then there's no expectation of, oh, this terrible thing is going to continue
Yeah.
and suffer that thought.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
Good. I feel like that's a good starting point to start with for today's satsang because it sort of clarifies to us the usefulness of spiritual pointings. You see, now there are, like everything phenomenal, there are pros and cons to everything, and it is the same for spiritual pointings as well. The use of spiritual pointings, especially in satsang like this, is as an antidote to any other conditioning. You see, as an antidote to any other thought construct, anything posing conceptually as reality, then a spiritual pointing comes and cleans that up. So I've been joking around with this one, which is, what are you not thinking right now? You see, to get you to look away into that which is broader than the conceptual version of, or the conceptual representations of what is, and look beyond that. You see, that into the wordless, unspeakable, intuitive reality. You see, so it is not that we go from one concept and then hang on to another concept. You see, initially it may happen provisionally that we need that. You see, but for most of you who've been with me for some time now, what happens is that the metaphor of the thorn being used to remove the other thorns and then being thrown away is a very, very useful metaphor in this case. You see, so this is what it is used for. The mind will attack you. You see, it will say all kinds of things, and a pointing like Guru Kripa Kevalam, Master's grace, is all there is. You see, serves as an antidote and brings us back into a neutrality, you see, rather than becoming a new crutch for us to hold on to, you see. So, so that which helps us return to the open and empty, including the pointer open and empty itself, you see, is useful for satsang of this type because it is introducing you to something which is far beyond your mind. You see, when you don't rely on conceptual knowledge, you are introduced to your higher aspects of being. You see, where intuitive knowledge is functioning so naturally, and in that way it can work. Um, Another benefit, quote unquote, is that you don't take yourself to be something. You see, except when you're relating to yourself in the versions of what the mind is telling you. You see, when you when you return to the innocence of the space between two thoughts, of the open and empty, what are you? In between two thoughts, what are you? Huh? Not even nothing, isn't it? Because even to claim to be nothing, we need a thought. You see? So we've left the conceptual realm in between any two thoughts. But you still are. But what? You cannot say. But you cannot say here, but here you're not lost. You see? That is why satsang is the movement from head to heart. You see? Not a physical heart, definitely not an emotional heart. You see? And mostly when people say, I'm all heart, man, I'm all heart. You see, mostly they're just saying that they just follow the emotions, whatever way the emotions are driving them. But that is not the heart that I'm speaking of. I'm speaking of the higher knowing, the core of your beingness itself, you see, which is the source of all intelligence. And everything in the waking state gets its light from that light. You see? So coming to satsang is a letting go of the false, and in the letting go of the false, there is a automatic remaining in the heart. You cannot go to the heart. You see? You can only let go of the false. Isn't that so simple? Now, uh, here, you see, here, are you something that any perception can contain? We're taking a bit of a leap, okay? So, and if there's anything, just stop me and just say, what are you saying? You see? Now, here, from here, when you don't refer to any concept to make a reference to yourself, you see, here, are you something contained in perception, or are you even beyond perception? Do either of these apply? Yeah. Okay, should we recap the bowls? We haven't used them for a few weeks. Okay. So, in the first bowl, you put all the knowledge that perceptions tell you, everything that you glean through perceptions. You see, I see this, I hear this, I smell this, I taste this, I touch this. All of that goes to first bowl. In the second bowl, we have a lot of knowledge where we've not even relied on perception. We just take it because it came from a believable source, it came from credible mouths. So we end up believing them. You see, so like that the sun, uh, in our perception, the sun is going around the earth. You see, but we've heard now, all of us have heard that it is actually the earth that goes around the sun. You see, so we have that knowledge which we have got from credible sources. So, but for the moment, for the exercise, you keep all of that conceptual knowledge also in the second bowl. And I am a good person, I'm a bad person, all these judgments also. We don't have a perception of this person, but we have concluded for ourselves. You see, All this conditioning that we have made for ourselves also goes into the second bowl. The third bowl is where you put all your desires, especially your spiritual desire. You see? What will happen if I do this exercise properly? Will I be free? Will I become enlightened? You see, will I have a halo? You see, is this the end of transmigration? All of these things go into the third bowl. Now, what is in the fourth bowl? Perceptions, first bowl, concept, second bowl, desire, third bowl. What is in the fourth bowl? So the tools of perception you cannot use because that is first bowl stuff. The tool that we call the mind, which is you based on language and concepts, cannot use because that is in the second bowl. You see, third is a combination of these, and what is in the fourth. Now, some of you may say that there is nothing. There is nothing. Then my question to you is, in which bowl did you go? All that you perceive went in first bowl. Everything that you can think went in second. And everything that you desire went in third. In which bowl did you go? Are you just a perception? Are you just a thought? Are you just a desire? If you're none of these, how can you know yourself? You see? Now, along with the bowls, I've also given you a hammer, isn't it? What is the hammer? Are you aware now? You see? Are you aware now? You will say, yes, you are aware. You see? Now, that knowledge, that insight, where does it belong? In which bowl? Do you see this awareness? Do you perceive it as perception? You see, if you perceive it as perception, like some may be imagining a dark, empty space and thinking that that is awareness, then ask yourself who is aware of that? Who is witnessing even the dark, empty space? You see, because if awareness fundamentally was the dark, empty space, then we would not have to do these thousands and thousands of satsang. Would come to an empty room, shut all the lights, close all this. You have the darshan of the absolute. You see, if it is just the absence of perception, then there are other ways. There are also some tanks and things. No, now what is it called? Where you can go and submerge. You don't know you're floating in that water tank or something.
Sensory deprivation tank.
Sensory deprivation. Yes, you can do these things. You see, and in sensory deprivation, you may feel like there's no perception. You see, so that must be myself, but it's not like that. Although I've heard it's quite a beautiful thing to do, but that is not to come to the darshan of the absolute. You see? So, so this, are you aware now? What is the basis of that knowledge? How do you recognize yourself as aware? So the question is not meant to motivate you to try and squeeze this into your head. Okay? Because sometimes that can happen. How do you do it? Then you're like, how do I do it? You see, that is not the that is not the point. You see, because you can never squeeze this into your head. You can never squeeze self knowledge into your head. Atma Jnana is not something that can belong to your mind. It is too big for it. So, so we are finding this intuitive insight, and the beauty of intuitive insight is that not only is it clarifying, you see, what we really are, also when we rely on intuitive insight, then there is no such thing as a problem left in the manifest world. You see, so both the saguna and the nirguna are taken care of. Then you go to your heart. Not taken care of according to the mind's plan, of course. And that is a trap that many fall into. You just feel like, okay, I've tried everything, I worked hard, things are not working out. I heard surrender works. You see? So you can bring a material desire into it and say, okay, now no need to work, no need to do anything. I'll just surrender and ba bang, ta-tang. You see, everything that I desired, everything I want will be mine. A great God mode, cheat code in life. It's not like that. You see? So the spiritual desire is there's a bowl for that. Whatever you want to get out of all of this has to be discarded there. All outcomes which you could use as benchmarks for your spiritual progress have to also be dropped there. You see? All this you have to take off and become fully naked into this. All perception, all concept, all desire kept aside. And what have you actually lost? And when I'm saying, so none of it has to be repressed, okay? We're just saying that you don't depend on any of that. All of that can play out. It can continue to play out. You don't have to push anything away at all. Everything can be allowed to play out. Even attention can go wherever it wants. You see? What I'm talking about is what is that which is independent of all of this? The content of the three bowls. What is independent of the content of the three bowls? You see? And how is that to be known? You see? In the case of self knowledge, both the questions are the same. To know it is to be it. You see? To be it is to know it. There is no separate knowing, you see, that you can do on top of that. Your very reality is the very knowingness of it. There is no difference between that, which is even prior to being or not being, and the knowledge of that. You see? Now, letting go of the false, letting go of the ephemeral, what is your representation of yourself? So, when spiritual tools are going to be used, they're going to be used in this way so that we can let go of the source of the trouble itself. You see, it is not meant to help the source of the trouble. You see, although it can seem to do so, and which is fine. You see, but source of the trouble is egotism, the idea of separation. You see? So, so that is why in this simple looking, in this simple self-recognition, you did not come across a layer where, or you did not come across a bowl in which you put the person. You see, because the person is not even perceived. It is just a bundle of conceptual ideas, you see, believed in to create a sense of identity. Therefore, then consciousness plays as if it is a person, it is an individual entity. How to get rid of that which never existed? Yeah. That yellow rabbit, no? Can you just, that yellow rabbit, just keep it out. Oh, okay. It's all good fun. You see, but if you're determined, you see, If you're determined that I have to be rid of the yellow rabbit, then what would happen? If you made it your life's purpose, I have to get rid of the yellow rabbit, what would happen? You would suffer because there is no way to fulfill that purpose. You cannot solve a non existent problem. You see? But to see that, so when the masters tell us that we must transcend this, it is to see that the problem is just fictional, it is just mental, you see? And to let go of that through our pure insight of self recognition is to let go of the problem. But to try and solve it at the level at which it is created is not possible. So to try and resolve it in mental terms, that which is mental is just going to add to more conceptual beliefs. You see? So we just have to clean up. Okay, lots of hands are up, lots of chat is there as well. So you want to add anything, Mahesh, my dear?
Just that is something that happened, that the mind was looking for new thoughts, better thoughts to help the person to get through the mind attack, the storm. But relief only came when all of
Yeah,
the everything was just dropped, and yeah, so that happened. Yeah, that was good.
that's very good. Very good. Very good.